day, all. This is Nolan Bushnell from ExoDexa and Dr. Leah Haynes, who we are going to talk about ExoDexa and entrepreneurship. And we believe that we have a very interesting platform that can teach almost 10 times, maybe more, faster with better retention. So that asks the question, with all that extra time, what do we teach? And so I believe that one of the things should be entrepreneurship. What do you think, Leah?
I completely agree. Helping children move their ideas into a reality. It's a safe space. Do it while you're in school, and you have lower risk factor than when you graduate and put all of your savings into an entrepreneurial idea. And I think the ability to recruit other students to help with your idea. And we touched on this in another podcast where you could set up a system in the school where the kids manage the funds and decide. They're not going to have enough money to do all the ideas. So when the kids decide on what ideas they're going to follow through on this particular year, then other kids can rally around and, like, I can help with that, or I can help with this one, and what do you need? And there's the whole ability to collaborate that I hope would also spill over to their studies.
Yeah, and also, I just think that a lot of times what you want a person to be able to do is just create their own job. That's pretty good. I mean, and the stories are legend. Michael Dell in his college dorm room putting computers together. And look what it turned out. What was more important, the college dorm room or his college degree? Clearly, the dorm room was more important. And and you know, from small acorns, mighty oak trees grow. And entrepreneurship's that way. You can dream about the exit, you can dream about the pathway, but it's often very, very different than what you expect. Like, I look at my life as being a series of happy accidents. I mean, really. Um, and yet it's been a pretty good life.
Yeah, and I think if what we're trying to do in in life in general, but in education for kids, is prepare them for adulthood, we're really not doing a lot to build their muscle for the life after education. We're helping them learn how to get through school, how to do their homework, so some of those skills are going to translate into effective employee experiences. You'll show up on time for work, you'll get your assignments, and you'll get them done. But thinking beyond that, like, even as a CEO, you need to have some entrepreneurial thought and skills in order to run an organization of any size. And
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot to gain and very little to lose by having a program in your school that allows kids to apply for funds. And I'm talking about, $100, $150 startup fund for a kid's idea. And maybe some of them are in high school, you're talking about a larger budget, but that the kids have to plan a business. They have to write out their business plan. They have to think about what it's going to cost to get this off the ground, and what their projections are for the future. All of those skills. I mean, that's where suddenly math matters.
Yeah.
Studying math for the sake of studying math doesn't matter to a kid. That's annoying, but something they have to learn. But if they're really passionate about making their widget, and they have to figure out projections and costs and profit, and they have to figure all that out early, then math matters. So they might become more interested in other elements of math, because they've had a reason to be there.
Yeah, learning in a vacuum is not nearly as powerful as learning for an objective. I mean, when I when I was 10 years old, I wanted to become a ham radio operator. And in order to do that, you had to pass an exam. And in the exam, it required algebra. I had no idea what algebra was. It also required a little bit of calculus. I had no idea what that was all about. But I decided, okay, well, I can learn that. and I was able to get through and I got my license. And so was I terrific at math? No, but I was driven. Whole different ball game.
Yeah.
And I gotta give you a story of my boys. I have I have five sons, but three of them decided they wanted to do the proverbial lemonade stand because we had our front driveway was right next to where a lot of bicycles and joggers would come by on a Saturday and Sunday. And they thought this was a great idea to make money. And and I used to give them a hard time. When they'd ask for money to do things, I'd point out that there were jobs that needed to be done around the house, and I'd be happy to pay them for it. you know, and so there wasn't any free ride in the Bushnell household. Sometimes if they got their mother on the right side, that would, but never with me. So anyway, they said, "But we think that we can do better, but we need a little bit of budget, and I need you to take us down to Costco." And so they set up this. I mean, it turned out to be almost a 7-Eleven at the bottom of our driveway. And they made a lot of money. And I had this conversation with them. They said, "Well, what should we charge? We can buy these little packages of chips for 7 cents. How much should you charge?" Oh, so you never charge anything less than a quarter. And we put this whole thing together, and I think that they ended up with a profit margin of over 60%.
Wow.
And and uh, and they were shocked that they could mark up stuff that much. I mean, they were kids.
Right.
I think they were 12, 10, and 8.
Which is a great experience, learning what you can, what the market will absorb. And, there's just as much beneficial learning in a failure at that
Oh
age
yeah.
as there is in a success, because and it's less painful. It might feel painful in the moment for the kids who fail at it, but the experience will teach them so much more than reading a book about it.
Well, and also there's kind of what's the definition of a failure? I mean, if the kids had put their little store down at the bottom of the driveway and nobody had bought anything, would that have been a failure? Yeah, kind of. But if they only sold half of their inventory, though they were very happy to eat the rest of it themselves.
Right.
So I mean, there's a definition of what is in fact a failure.
Yeah. I don't see a downside to
No.
offering entrepreneurial studies to young children. And I think of, we at the foundation, we work with Kane from Kane's Arcade. And there was a young man who, when I met Kane, he was 9. He's now 20 and he works with us. So I've been able to see the changes in his life from 9 till to 20. And he's, that young experience. When I asked him, what made you put your arcade together, he said, truthfully, I was just bored. I needed something to do, and so I made the arcade games. Then I decided I should let other people play them, and I should charge. And it became something. And he's now, studying at uh, Cal State Dominguez Hills, and he's doing a course on entrepreneurialism. And it was his early experience that made him, interested in that. And he's a good example of someone who found his way to an entrepreneurial experience out of just boredom. If we
Yeah.
offered it in school, I mean, I just think it would be such a
Well,
benefit.
all my kids are some level of entrepreneur, and I think that I taught them early on that was a path that was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you have some self determination over your career. You're not at the mercy of the boss. You become the boss when you're the entrepreneur.
Yeah. Well, I used to always tell them, as an entrepreneur, you're the last one to get fired.
Right. And I remember you once saying, as long as the furniture's still in the office, you're still in business. Just
Yeah,
keep working. Just keep going.
it's
Well,
so true.
yeah. I think we've covered this one for now, Nolan.
Okay, guys. Now, writing a book is also entrepreneurial. And so we've got a book coming out. And so I want you to go out and buy a lot of copies and give them to your friends.
You can
That's kind of
pre-order them on
commercial.
Amazon too.
Yeah,
It comes out
exactly.
October 17th. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Thanks,
Be
Nolan.
good.